Hello again, everyone, and welcome back to Elements of Music. Kicking off part 2, this is the activity list we have for this week. We will be responding in a blog about copyright basics as they pertain to music. We also have a Soundtrap project in which we will be creating our own ringtone. We have a music research paper, that's a big one, I'll get to that in a second, and a quiz about Ojibwe music. First item on the list is the Copyright Basics blog. Now, copyright can pertain to any creative work, whether it be music, theater productions, artwork, movies, you name it. But for our intents and purposes, this will be related to music, specifically as it relates to sampling. Now, if you don't know what sampling is, it's basically taking a piece of someone else's song and incorporating it into your own. Off the top of my head, I can think of a hip-hop rap group, Public Enemy. If you haven't heard of their song, Give It Up, I think that's one of their best uses of sampling, just in my personal opinion. But I'm sure you know of other artists who have used sampling just as creatively. So, watch the PBS video, read about the copyright basics in this PDF, and then reply to the questions. Make sure also to leave a comment on someone else's blog post, otherwise I sadly cannot give you full credit. I will be creating a blog post of my own, so if there's no one else to reply to, you can always reply to me. Going back, let's skip the music research paper, I'll come to that last. The Soundtrap project will actually have you create your own ringtone, 15 to 20 seconds worth. It can be someone else's song. For instance, I created a ringtone of Ozzy Osbourne's Crazy Train. Or it can be royalty-free music. And if you did the copyright blog, you should know what royalty-free music is. Basically, it's music that you will not have to pay an artist to use. And this link here, BenSound, is a great resource for royalty-free music. So if you can't think of an artist's song to create a ringtone out of, you can definitely go to BenSound and find a suitable one that you like there. There's a ton of free music that you can use. The videos below those links basically address certain aspects of the project and tell you how to do certain things that you'd be required to do for this assignment. Specifically, how to import audio into Soundtrap, how to split regions of a track, I call it the track hack shop, and how to add fade outs and fade ins. Then make sure, or actually before I continue, make sure that whatever file you put into Soundtrap, it is an MP3 format, and that you also export it as an MP3, and then submit it here to this module. Going down, we have now the Ojibwe music quiz. The primary resource for this quiz is actually a documentary by Eddie Benson Benet, who is a native Ojibwe. He actually had a very, very traditional upbringing, and he uses that upbringing, that knowledge that he gained through his family, to educate people on the Ojibwe culture and the Anishinaabe culture as a whole. Anishinaabe being the name of the First Nations peoples of the Great Lakes region, both in Canada and the United States. I think you'll absolutely love how he tackles specifically the musical side of his tradition and how each of the instruments featured in the video ties back to the culture in a very moving way. I think you'll absolutely adore how he breaks this down. It's worth noting that the quiz is worth 20 points and it can be taken an unlimited number of times. Please take advantage of that if you need to. And just a little bit of an afterthought, there's always the extra credit, where you can share 5 songs throughout the course for 5 extra points each. If you did add extra credit in part 1, or if you did share songs as part of extra credit in part 1, please use 5 different songs for part 2. Self-explanatory, but just covering my bases here. Okay, now the project of this part of the class is the music research paper. It is quite extensive. Each week you will be responsible for a different part of the research paper, but I don't want to scare you. This is actually a very fun project because it will be covering a musical topic of your choice, something that you are very interested in, even passionate in, you can definitely write about. So if we click on this, you will see that there are 2 further modules. The first one being an overview of the project week by week, and the second module is actually a journal where you will submit each of those parts of the project during that week. So, for instance, this week's assignment is merely to just choose your research paper topic. Now, it can be anything musical within some confines. Now, I know what you're wondering, Mr. G, how can there be directions for how to write a research paper or how to pick a research paper topic? Well, to boil it down, it cannot be too broad of a topic and it cannot be too specific of a topic. You can't go into this writing about the Romantic era in general because there's just too much stuff to cover and your paper will just be muddled and it would have too much content. No, there's no focus if you were to write about a topic that broad. On a similar note, you can't write about a topic that's too specific, such as one particular song. You can't do an entire paper about Butter by BTS as much as you try. You just can't. But there is one notable exception. If you do write about Jimi Hendrix's The Star-Spangled Banner, that could be a full-length paper. I love Jimi Hendrix, and I'm sure some of you appreciate his music too. But suffice it to say, it needs to strike a balance of both. An example would be if you wanted to write about tone poems. That is a Romantic era topic, but a specific Romantic era topic. Similarly, if you wanted to write about BTS, you can write about the band's history or their discography, comparing their albums to each other, etc. If you are struggling for ideas or need a little bit of inspiration, here are some topics that prior students have written about in the past. So, quick recap. Every single week, you'll be given one part of this research paper to do. The first week is simply to choose your topic. Be sure to read the directions for picking a research topic document, and then once you have your topic, click on the title of this journal. Go to the top where it says Create Journal Entry. Type in the title Research Paper Topic, and then type your topic in the text box below. If I think it is too broad or too specific, I will let you know and request that you choose a different topic. But I can definitely help in that regard if you're struggling to find one that is suitable for this assignment. And with that, that is the overview for week 2. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns at all, you always have my ear, and I look forward to working with you in part 2. Music be with you.